Tonight, we tell the story of the telescope that looked back. It begins, as these stories always do, with a warning that was not quite a warning. My uncle, on the first night, said to me almost to himself, the way a man says a thing he has said before and been ignored before and will say again, "Don't ever set foot on the mountain behind us." I was 14. I had just eaten the best meal of my life. There was a wood stove burning. I had no intention of going anywhere, so I said, "Sure," I said, "of course." I did not set foot on the mountain. I did something much smaller. I just looked. What looked back at me, and this is the part I cannot make sound real, no matter how many times I have said it, is the reason I have never gone back to that lodge. And it is the reason my uncle sold it. The lodge was in North Prefecture, 8 hours from the nearest city, up a winding mountain road, far past where the towns ended and the pines thickened. My uncle had bought it a few years before, a small, 2-story wooden house, half a dozen neighboring lodges visible down the slope, all of them empty in winter. He was in his early 30s then. He was, my parents always said, the one. The bachelor uncle, the worldly one, the fashionable one. He took me camping. He taught me to use a pocket knife. He played me music I had never heard before. He had been to places I could not yet imagine. I think of him now as a kind of educated, slightly bohemian Japanese man of the 2000s. Down jacket in winter, a good bottle of something in summer, a serious telescope in the front room of a house he only used in winter. He had invited me up because the girl he had been planning to bring had, the week before, broken up with him. He needed company. I was honored. I was quiet about being honored. I packed my bag. We drove up at night. We stopped at a supermarket on the way and bought the ingredients for what turned out to be the best meal of my life. Hormone, fish, mountain vegetables, rice we would cook in a hanko, a mess tin. We arrived well past dark. The road narrowed. The road climbed. The road became a single lane. We passed the neighboring lodges. Windows dark, snow piled on the porches, no smoke from the chimneys. My uncle said, "Nobody comes up here in winter." We pulled into our own drive. The lodge was cold. We built a fire in the stove. We cooked the meal. We ate it at a low table. We moved to the room with the wood stove and the old consoles, a PlayStation, a Super Famicom, a Famicom. And then, the way uncles do, he began to tell scary stories. They were good. They were quiet. They were not, at the time, what I was afraid of. It happened almost as an afterthought. I cannot remember which story he had just finished. I cannot remember whether the fire was high or low. But suddenly he said, almost to himself, "Don't ever go up that mountain behind us." He said it the way you say a thing you have said before. He said the locals hardly ever set foot on it, even in autumn when the matsutake come up, that there is something about the back mountain that even the mushroom pickers keep clear of. He said offhand, it may mean nothing, that the president of a company that owned one of the neighboring lodges had hanged himself up there years ago on one of the trees. I did not ask him to explain. I nodded. I said, "Sure," I said, "of course." We stayed up until around 5 in the morning. I remember that. We stayed up late, and then I slept hard, and I did not, the next day, set foot on the mountain. I woke around noon, thirsty. I drank some water. I walked out onto the balcony. The snow was deep. The sun was flat. A few birds were doing their winter thing. The neighboring lodges, all of them, were still empty. The mountain behind the lodge, the back mountain, was just a mountain, dark with pine, half shrouded in cloud. It was ordinary. I remember that. It was an ordinary mountain in ordinary winter light. I was bored. I was 14. I went back inside. I wandered into the front room. I noticed the telescope. It was a serious telescope, not a toy, not a department store thing. The kind of telescope a man who loves hobbies keeps in a room of a house he only uses in winter. The tripod was set up near the window. The leather case was half open on the floor beside it, as if my uncle had not yet bothered to put it away from his last session. I had never used a telescope that good. I pulled up the chair. I looked through the eyepiece. The mountain filled the frame. I could see individual trees. I could see the snow on the branches. I could see on the upper slope a small, flat clearing I had not known was there. I panned slowly. I panned across the pines. I panned down toward a low outcropping of rock at the tree line. And then, in the frame, something shifted. A figure. It looked like a person. It was at the edge of the trees. It was far away. I could not see it clearly even at full zoom. A shape, a color, a sense of being there. And then, in a way I have spent the years since trying to make sense of, it was looking back. I do not know how I knew. I do not know that I saw an eye. I know that I knew. The way you know when a dog at the far end of a field is watching you, that whatever was in the frame was watching me. And then I was screaming. I do not remember standing up. I do not remember the chair falling over. I know that I was screaming and that the tears would not stop and that I wanted, and I do not know how to say this cleanly, I wanted, suddenly, with a force that was not mine, to die. Not a thought, a want, as if the want had been poured into me from outside. My uncle came down the stairs. He did not run. He did not shout. He crouched on the floor in front of me. He took my face in his hands. Look at me. Look at me. It's not yours. The want is not yours. I did not understand what he meant, but I looked at him. Slowly, like water draining, the want receded. I could breathe. I could think. He made me sit. He made me drink. He sat across from me low on the wood floor. He did not look at the window. He said, "Tell me exactly what you saw." I told him, the figure, the trees, the sense of being looked at. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, and I have never forgotten the words, probably pointless. Unless we can pull its attention off us, it will follow, anywhere, forever. It is a kind of curse. They call it Jashi, the evil eye. He said, "Shaku na shisen to kaite Jashi to yomun da ga." He did not panic. He sat for a moment, thinking. Then he stood up, went to the kitchen, and came back with a plastic PET bottle. He held it up to the light. "I'm going to need a few minutes of your privacy," he said, and went to the bathroom. I did not understand, and then I did. When he came back, he set the bottle on the table. He put a pair of sunglasses next to it, a handheld flashlight, a small packed backpack with food and water, a wooden baseball bat leaning against the wall. He said, "We are not going to fight it. We are going to make it not want to be near us. Jashi hates impurity. The body is more effective than sutras or charms. Tonight, when the light starts to go, we go up. I will tell you the rest on the way." I did not ask what was in the PET bottle. I had already understood. The sun was going down. The pines turned to silhouettes. The mountain, which had been a mountain, was a single black wall against the dimming sky. We packed. We put on our warmest clothes. My uncle put on the sunglasses. He gave me a second pair. He said, "Do not look at it directly. Keep your gaze off. Track it in your peripheral vision. Trust me, do not look at it." We stepped out the back door. We walked past the woodpile. We walked past the empty neighboring lodges. We took the path that began low and faint into the pines. The snow crunched under our boots. The air was very cold. The trees closed in around us. The lodge behind us got smaller. The mountain ahead of us got larger. I did not look back. My uncle did not look back. We did not speak. The path climbed. The snow got deeper. The flashlight beam cut a small, pale circle in the dark. My uncle walked slightly ahead. I watched his boots in the beam. I listened to his breathing. I listened to the wind in the pines. I could feel, somewhere ahead of us, the same sense I had felt through the telescope. The sense of being watched. Not close, not yet, but aware. Aware is the only word. And then, in the beam, very far ahead, the snow was moving. Not wind moving, not settling. Moving, the way snow moves when something large has just stepped through it. I thought then, the telescope that looked back, the one that had poured the want to die into me that morning, was ahead of us, on the path, walking up the mountain. I thought, it had been waiting. I thought, it had been walking up the mountain since the moment I had looked into the eyepiece. I thought, it was not going to stop. I do not remember how long we walked. The cold was extraordinary. The cold was a thing in itself. My fingers inside my gloves were losing feeling. My uncle stopped. He whispered, and his whisper was very steady. "Stay behind me. If I go down, do not come to me. Run. Run to the lodge. Do not look back." I nodded. I kept my eyes on the snow at my feet. I listened. I heard very faintly the sound of something large moving through snow, very slowly, very close. I heard breathing. I heard, or I thought I heard, a low hum, almost a song, the way a person hums a tune they have been humming for a long time. I did not look up. I did not look up. My uncle's hand on my shoulder tightened. He stepped forward. He put the bottle to his mouth. He raised the flashlight. I heard him exhale. A long, slow, fine exhale. A mist in the flashlight beam, spreading out toward the shape I would not look at. And then, in the beam, a sound I had never heard before and have never heard since. A scream. Not human, not animal. Something between a horse's neigh and a high young cry, and the noise a very large piece of metal makes when it is bent past its tolerance. I heard my uncle exhale again and again. I heard between the exhales a kind of garbled curse. Words in no language I knew. Words that were not for me. I heard the thing in the beam move. I heard the snow crunch. I heard the song change key, drop into something lower, angrier. My uncle's hand on my shoulder was shaking. He whispered, "It's turning. It's turning around." I did not look. I kept my eyes on the snow. I listened to the thing very slowly, with a kind of terrible grace, move away from us, down the mountain, back the way it had come. We did not run. My uncle said, "Do not run. Walk. Walk slowly. Do not turn around. If we run, it will know we are afraid and it will follow." We walked. The snow crunched. The flashlight beam trembled. The pines were very dark. The thing somewhere behind us was still singing, that low, tuneless, not quite a song. The lodge ahead of us was a long time appearing. When it did, the single warm window seemed, in the dark, the only warm thing in the world. We did not speak. We reached the back door. We went inside. We shut the door. We sat on the wood floor. We did not turn the lights on for a long time. My uncle said very quietly, "We are not going back up that mountain. Not tonight. Not ever." The fire had gone low. I rebuilt it. My uncle sat on the futon, the pet bottle still in his hand, the sunglasses still on. We did not speak for a long time. And then suddenly his phone rang. The ringtone was ordinary. It was the default ringtone. It was the kind of ringtone a person has on their phone when they have not bothered to change it. My uncle looked at the screen. He said very slowly, "It's her. It's the girl I told you about. The one I was going to bring up here." I said, "Answer it then." He did not answer it. He held the phone in his hand. He looked at the screen. He said, "There is no signal up here. There has been no signal on this mountain all week. There is no signal on this phone. Look, there are no bars. There are no bars at all." The phone kept ringing. We sat and listened to it ring. He answered it. He listened. He said very quietly, "Yes, I know. I will call you back." He hung up. He put the phone down on the futon. He sat for a long time, looking at the embers. He said, "When the phone rang the first time, when we were up on the mountain, you were already half asleep. I saw you. Your eyes were closing. I thought you were dying. I was screaming at you. I was screaming your name." I said, "I heard a voice. I heard a voice that was not yours, calling me by name, telling me to wake up." My uncle was quiet for a long time. He said, "I had a brother when I was small. He died. I have not thought about him in a long time, but I think tonight he may have been watching us." I did not say anything. I looked at the embers. I thought about my own brother, dead young, calling me by name in a dream I had not known I had been having. Dawn came. The light, when it came, was very pale. My uncle packed the car. He did not say goodbye to the lodge. He did not lock the back door. He started the engine. He sat for a moment with his hands on the wheel, looking at the mountain through the windshield. He said, "We are going to go down the mountain, and we are going to go home, and I am going to sell this lodge. I have a phone call I need to make. I have a phone call I have been needing to make for a long time." I said, "Okay." I did not say anything else. There was nothing else to say. The mountain behind us was already disappearing into the morning cloud. I did not look back.
We never went back. My uncle sold the lodge that winter. He did not tell anyone why. My parents did not ask. I did not ask. There was nothing to ask.
In the years since, I have read the story. I have read it in Japanese. I have read the anonymous post on an old Suchana forum written by someone with a handle I will never know, dated January 2008, in a thread that ran for 11 short posts. Share-kowa, the tradition is called. Share-kowa. The jokes that are so scary they are not funny anymore. I have read the rankings that place the story among the canon. I have read the essays in folklore journals. I have read Yanagita Kunio on the one-eyed mountain beings. I have read the cross-cultural map of the evil eye. Greek, Levantine, South Asian, Latin American, all of them circling the same thought, that a gaze, the wrong gaze, can mark you. And I have thought often about the telescope that looked back. My uncle, who is gone now, never wrote down what he saw. He never described it. He never tried to. He only said once near the end, "We did not break any of the rules. The mountain did not move. The mountain did not have to." Sleep well, dear listener.